My name is Horo, and today I'm going to be breaking down Jemi Memu's cover of Anzu no Uta from Idolmaster. Alright, let's jump into it, shall we? I want to break this video down into 3 parts. Alright, I want to talk about how I understand the project, how I go from the prompt to the project itself. I want to talk about the mixing decisions I made, how I listened to and analyzed the track in order to make each specific sound possible. And then lastly, I want to talk about some techniques that I learned as a result of working on this project. These are things that were new to me, maybe they're new to you, and hopefully you can use them in one of your own projects in the future. So let's go into this first part about how I understand the project. I'm gonna be honest, this is an idol song. Anzu no Uta, Idolmaster. This is 100% idol. I already know that the song is going to be singer focused, not music focused. In idol culture in Japan, it's all about the personality. We're gonna keep the singer centered, and we're going to really bring out the personality of, in this case, Jem's voice. All right, that's what we want to keep. That's what we want to maintain. The next part of this is we need to understand the lyrics. If you don't speak Japanese, then look for a translation. I do speak Japanese, so when I was listening to it, I was just laughing along to this track because this track is a song about wanting to be lazy. I'm going to pull up the lyrics so we can look at it together. This is Anzu no Uta. This is Anzu's song. And Anzu just wants to be lazy. From the first line, we see, Watashi wa hatarakanai zo. No, I'm not going to work. Anzu doesn't want to work. Look at her. She's just a precious little bean. She's not going to work in a day in her life. And that's the point. We can even say over here, this line, 24 jikan nenju yukyuu. 24 hours, all year paid vacation. She's not going to work. This is an anthem about not working. Anthemizing procrastination. Potechi pizza osaifu bari bari. Potato chips pizza, my wallet is working hard. Futon ni tsumatteru nuku nuku. I snuggle into the futon, so warm and comfy. This is a song about being lazy, and we're going to make that anthem really shine. So when we're thinking about an anthem, we want the message to be clear. If you haven't listened to the song already, go listen to Jem's cover, then come back here so you can get a full understanding of the song. This song is like telling her audience that it's okay to be lazy and it's okay to be cute. All right, so we're just gonna forgive ourselves, okay? Because we're gonna eat our snacks and we're gonna eat our candy. All right, that's the lyrics, that's the vibe of the song that we're getting into. And like I said, this is idol, idol, idol. So singer front and center. This is an energetic song. This is a chaotic song. Importantly, there's a lot of the singer talking. We get these sections over here. You know, I'm not going to work. Even this the second part over here. There are a lot of moments where Anzu, or in this case, Jem, is talking about their feelings. They're like, I just want to be lazy. I don't want to work hard. I don't want to do all this. In keeping that in mind, when we're going to adjust and tune the vocals, it might not be worth it to go all the way with the tuning. It might be worth it actually to just go halfway with it and keep that sort of talkativeness to the voice, right? This is more of a conversation. This is an idol personality song, right? This is Anzu no Uta. This is Anzu's song. So we're showing off the personality in the voice. That being said, I'm going to go into this part 2 now, where we go through the mixing decisions that I made to bring out the personality and character of the song. The biggest thing that you'll see on my screen and in this mixing session is all of these session markers, which if you don't know how to do that in Ableton, right click, add locator. When I'm doing a pass through of a song, I will add these locators to mark different sections of mixing that I need to pay attention to. So this first section starts dry, but then immediately goes into this announcement megaphone thing, which, oh, this is a announcement megaphone thing. I need to change that because we do not support oranges in this house. This is the announcement megaphone thing, right? Like, listen to this. Right? This is a big effect. And then immediately goes back to this. We're back to dry. And then we have a little bit of a light reverb over here. So as I listen through the song, I'm marking different sections that I need to pay attention to, and those will inform my mixing decisions. The main part of this project is obviously the vocal mix. And like I said, we need to decide how far we're going to go with our pitch adjustment. For this, for each dry section here, this is talking. Also, it doesn't hurt that the singer, at least Anzu in the picture, I assume. I'm going to be honest with you. I didn't search very much Idolmaster. I don't really know anything about Anzu, but I'm just going to assume that they're a younger singer. Their voice isn't fully developed. They're not going to be perfect. It's not going to be pitch perfect on the scene, right? We're going for this, oh my God, look at me. I'm so lazy and I'm so cute, right? We're not going to go super pop star perfect. I don't know why the name Adele popped into my mind. We're not going to be Adele on this track. Keep that in mind as we're moving forward. On our main audio tracks here, I have an instance of vocal line to reference the original version of this and kind of just tighten all the timing together. And then we have an instance of Melodyne. Like I said, pitch correction. We're just doing a little bit to bring everything closer together, but not on the money. Going up a layer into the main vocal group, we have my main vocal chain that I have been using for a little while now. And I'll run through that real quick. Subtractive surgical EQ here. We have our first vocal compressor here going into Nectar, which is acting as my de-esser. We have a more subtractive broadband EQ here. We have the CLA 76 from Waves as my first main compressor on here. You know, we have that first, general compressor, but this is more to tame the peaks of each of the notes. Then we have, as our additive EQ, we are using the SSLE channel. Next, we have our LA2A style compressor, which is a more general compression of our vocals, just to basically keep everything level. First, we tame the peaks, and then we're kind of bringing everything to a more balanced sound. And then finally, a newest addition to the chain, we have Saturn 2 from FabFilter. This is going to be our saturation for the vocals. I mentioned this in a Twitter thread a while back and a little bit in my first video, which if you haven't seen HORO Shows You Part 1, you should probably go check it out. The human voice does not like overly perfect. So we use saturation to add a little bit of grit and a little bit more harmonics to the sound to make it a little brighter and make it stand out a little bit more in the whole mix. This next group over here, I'm going to talk about a little bit later, but finally we have a utility on the end of each of every chain. This is where if I need to do any volume automation, I'll do that here. I do not automate my main faders except for the master fader at the very end. This is because I want to do my micro changes inside the track, and then all of my macro changes I want to do on the master faders, right? You can change the sweeping inside of the track, and then you can just bring that that sweeping to different levels. Does that make sense? I feel like it's like a roller coaster of sound. That is one level up in the main audio group. And then finally in our vocal group, we have the solid state bus compressor from Native Instruments. The reason that I chose the solid state bus compressor from Native Instruments over something like maybe an LA2A style compressor, some compressors add sound or add color when they're compressing things. And for this kind of song where everything is more clean, except for when I want it to be dirty, I don't want to add too much to it. So I'm choosing to go for a cleaner sounding group compressor just to keep everything nice and pristine. The same kind of effects go for my harmonies and they go for my ad-libs. There's nothing really too crazy going on here. And then we have our different effects tracks down here, which I'll go through a little bit. These verse and chorus verbs and delays, I put these on here just to start. Whether I use them or not is kind of track by track, but I put them here just because I know there's something that's going to go into it. And typically verse and chorus effects change. So we just have those as placeholders. And then we can see some more creative effects down here, the half note delay, announce and floaty delay, right? And I'll go more into what this announce is and this half note delay a little bit later. Among the little changes that we have to make, there are some things like, I have a note here, half note big delay verb. So when we listen to this track, we're going for a effect, like there's some silence here. We're going for a big wide sound that's going to stretch over the part where Jem isn't singing. And so we can get that by using Valhalla delay, and we have a half note delay that kind of just spreads out over the silence. So we can listen to that here. All right, I lied. It doesn't go over the entire thing, but this is something to fill up the space, and really it's only at the end of this note here. We can watch the automation change over on the main vocal group. And this is an accent to the end of that phrase. And then we go back into something that's a little bit drier. We listen to this a little bit. The chorus just has a little bit of touch of reverb on it to kind of glue everything together. And then we have this growing verb here. I notice when it sounds like Anzu or Jem is making an announcement, the verb gets a little bit bigger, like she's announcing it to the crowd, right? And we can hear that here. Right? It's growing into the space. We got big verb over here, big verb. Something to fill up the space with those musical impact. We're having those lyrics hit with the music. Through here, it's regular vocals, slightly bigger. I know I'm just adding a little bit more reverb to thing. Listen here for normal verse. This is more of a reference note, like, hey, when we're making these mixing decisions, listen to this section because I think you can really hear it clearly here. The beginning announcement, we're going to go talk through the megaphone effect later. Chorus verb with delay. This is just a good example of what the chorus sounds like, dry. And then we have over here, I've got some panning things, like pretty big panning decisions that came into play here. They're not really big decisions. They were kind of easy, but like, you know, there's some big changes going on. Got left over here to the right. When you hear something like that, you should take a note of it. Like it's going left, it's going right, but then it's coming more towards the center and it's climbing back towards the focus. This rising hall verb right here. Oh, I can't wait to talk about that. That was a fun part. Bandpass filter, we're going to talk about that later. And that's basically the entire song. Those are all the main things. So now I want to go into part 3, some of the techniques, the more creative techniques that I used in this track to really bring it to life. First, I'm going to start with the easiest, this bandpass filter over here. When you're identifying the kind of filter that you want to use to create a certain effect, I would think about it like, what are the sounds that you are hearing, right? What can you actually hear? So a low pass filter is going to bring a lot more bass into it. It's passing through all the low information. So we're going to sound like this. A high pass filter is going to take out all that bass and information. So we're going to be up here and it's going to be kind of whispery, you know what I'm saying? And then the band pass filter is a concentration of middle frequencies, right? There's no low end information. There's no high end information. Think of it like you're listening to an old timey radio where the main sound comes through, but you're not getting too much on either side. And that's what we're getting in this band pass filter section here. So let's take a listen. We can go, let's start with the dry section just before it so you can hear the dramatic change. Right, we're only getting that middle information, and that's something that's really simply done. We have in the big vocal group here, we have a auto filter that's being automated on with this bandpass filter to just bring out the section around, that would be about 1500 hertz. Yeah, we're just bringing out that main set of frequencies. So that's the bandpass filter. The part in the lyrics is actually pretty interesting where this comes in. She says it right here. Haha, I'll take a strategic rest. I call it the doppelganger strategy. Bringing in a double to do all of her work for her, right? Yeah, that's the bandpass effect. It's just her double coming in to take over for her. The next thing is the megaphone effect. Yeah, we want this big megaphone effect kind of sound, and that's done by, on the main vocal group here, we have an overdrive effect that's being automated on to kind of give this guitar amp kind of loudspeaker kind of grit and distortion. Along with that, we have this announce send down here, which is a Valhalla delay that's being automated into give the double of the vocal behind the main one, but not as much of like the repetition. We don't want like a da 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 da. We don't want it like to go on and on and on. We want like da 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 da. We want like kind of the effect that happens when you're hearing somebody up close and then the speaker is like emitting the information. So we can hear that. I'm going to solo the vocal so you can hear that a little bit clearer. So this delay was set so most of the second word comes behind the first word. Does that make sense? This could be used in a lot of different situations. I could see it used in a lot more rock or rock rap, punk kind of sounds where you're like, I am making my announcement to the world. Lastly, what I want to talk about is something that's really, really tiny, but when I heard it, I was like, ooh, I am so excited to try to figure out how this works. And that, I kind of hinted to it, that would be the rising hall verb. This little tiny part right here is so cool. Can you hear what's going on here? It's so small, but when you isolate the vocal by itself, what you hear is something really, really interesting. So let's have a listen. The vocal is being delayed, right? We hear those echoes, but on top of that, the pitch is rising and the delays are getting smaller and shorter together. So I was like, oh, okay, how do I do that? And the answer is to think about a record player or a tape cassette, right? When you spin a record faster and faster, or maybe you're rewinding a tape or a VHS, right? When that happens and you're listening to the audio, it gets really high pitched and fast, right? So we do the same thing with our delay. I'm going to go to this half note delay here, and I'm going to show you what's happening when I am doing this delay effect here. Let's have a listen and watch what's going on here as I play this section. So the delay is actually going down and the delay time is decreasing. And as we're speeding up those delays, as a result, the pitch gets higher and higher, right? So, and we can see in that instance, when we snap back to it, it goes lower because it's trying to recompensate from going from a very low delay to a very high delay very fast. And so the pitch gets lower. So what we did to get this kind of effect, first, under the delay parameters, I found the delay send here. As the vocal continues, we can watch as that delay gets faster and faster and faster and curves down, 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 right to 0. Additionally, I have this auto filter that's being automated here. What we wanted to do is I did this to have the initial delay, but then I wanted the vocal to duck out of the way because then we immediately have this dry vocal that comes into it. So I used the auto filter to tuck back the delay as it's coming, and we can watch as it goes smaller and smaller, 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 smaller too. We're cutting out more and more frequencies so the main vocal doesn't get masked by this really, really, really high-pitched delay. To be honest, I don't know a lot of other situations where you can use this kind of effect, but the fact that it's in this song, like somebody took the time to purposefully make this delay effect happen, I think is really cool. And I'll look for a place to use it. I mean, I have the tool now. Those are the big techniques that I got to put to play here. The rest is kind of like, you know, you do to every track. But when you hear those big effects, you're like, oh, I can't wait to dive into that and see how that actually worked. In general, that's how I broke down and I mixed Anzin no Uta. I'm not going to go into mastering here. That's really a track by track call. If you're interested in learning how I master tracks, let me know in the comments. If you're interested in any of the other parts in this video, like if you want me to go full into detail about things, please let me know. I would be happy to break down each section and let you know how I accomplished different sounds or how I made those little minor judgment calls. Like, how do I do subtractive EQ? How do I decide what compressor to grab? What do I look for when I'm adding frequencies back with additive EQ? That's basically it. This is how I mixed Jem's cover of Anzin no Uta. And if you're interested in seeing more, you can go check out this other video. I don't know where to point. If you're interested in seeing more of my breakdowns, you can go check out HORO Shows You episode 1. If you liked what you see here and you want to see more, don't forget to like and subscribe so you can see more as I put out more content. And yeah, I think that about does it. Thank you so much for watching. And until next time, this is the part where I have to be a YouTuber and I have to have like a send off. So yeah, this is basically the breakdown of Jem's cover of Anzin no Uta. If you haven't given a listen already, please go check it out. It's so good and it's so much fun. But yeah, until next time, my name is HORO, and I just showed you. Later.
Take a break and listen to your body now. Take a break and listen to yourself now. Even though you see when you go, just know